Subscribe to Cheating Tales Lab. Now let's begin. The Georgia sun was brutal at 3 p.m. when Derek Hansen's pickup truck rolled down Oakmont Avenue. He'd been driving since 6 that morning, straight from Fort Bragg, his deployment cut short by 2 months due to budget reallocations. The surprise homecoming was supposed to be a celebration. He'd imagined Travis's face lighting up, Julia crying happy tears, maybe her father Gordon cracking one of his rare smiles. Derek turned onto Pinecrest Drive and pulled into the driveway of the modest 2-story colonial he'd bought before his last deployment. The lawn needed mowing. Paint was peeling on the shutters. He killed the engine and sat there a moment, working the stiffness from his shoulders after 9 hours behind the wheel. 34 years old, 12 years in the Army, and he still got excited coming home. He grabbed his duffel from the truck bed and headed for the front door, then stopped. A sound came from the backyard, a small, desperate sound. Derek's training kicked in before conscious thought. He dropped the bag and moved along the side of the house, his boots silent on the grass despite his size. What he saw through the gap in the fence made his blood turn to ice water. A small figure crouched beside the garbage cans, one hand inside the black plastic bag, pulling something out. Barefoot on the concrete, rail-thin legs visible beneath dirty shorts. Derek pushed through the gate. Travis. The boy spun around, and Derek's heart shattered. His 7-year-old son stood there with sunken cheeks, ribs clearly visible through his stained t-shirt, holding a half-eaten container of moldy pasta. Dark circles ringed Travis's eyes. His feet were filthy and bleeding from cuts. Daddy. The word came out as a broken whisper. Derek moved forward slowly, keeping his voice level despite the rage building in his chest. Hey buddy. It's me. I came home early. Travis dropped the container and stepped back, his thin body shaking. I'm sorry. I was hungry. Mommy said. She said, tears streamed down his gaunt face. What did Mommy say? Derek knelt down, making himself smaller, less threatening. Food is for blood-related only. Travis's voice was mechanical, rehearsed. I'm not allowed to eat their food. Grandpa Gordon says I'm a burden. A mouth to feed. I have to earn my meals, but I never do good enough. Derek's hands clenched into fists. 12 years of combat experience, 3 tours, countless hostile situations, and nothing had prepared him for this. His son, his Travis, eating from the garbage. Come here, son. Derek opened his arms. Travis hesitated, then stumbled forward. Derek caught him, feeling nothing but bone and skin. The boy weighed maybe 40 pounds when he should have been 60. Derek stood, lifting his son easily, and Travis buried his face in his father's neck. You're not in trouble, Derek said quietly. You didn't do anything wrong. Not one single thing. You understand me. Travis nodded against his shoulder. Derek carried him to the truck, his mind already shifting into tactical mode. Document everything. Secure the asset. Gather intelligence. Execute the mission. He'd learned to compartmentalize emotions in Kandahar. He'd need that skill now more than ever. He settled Travis in the passenger seat and pulled out his phone. 3 photographs of the garbage cans. 2 of Travis's feet. 1 full body shot. He switched to video. Travis, can you tell me again what Mommy said about food? The boy repeated it, word for word. Derek saved the file with a timestamp. When did you last eat a real meal? Thursday, maybe. Grandpa Gordon gave me some bread crusts after I cleaned the garage. Today was Sunday. Derek's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. Okay, let's get you something to eat, buddy. Something good. He drove to Lucy's Diner, 2 miles away. Inside, he ordered pancakes, eggs, bacon, hash browns, orange juice, and chocolate milk. Travis stared at the food when it arrived like he'd never seen anything so beautiful. Slow down, Derek said gently as Travis began shoveling eggs into his mouth. Small bites. Your stomach's not used to this. They sat in the booth for an hour. Derek let Travis eat at his own pace while he made notes in his phone. Every detail, every word. He'd learned in Army intelligence that documentation was everything. You built your case brick by brick. Daddy. Travis looked up from his second glass of chocolate milk. Are you going to leave again? Not without you, Derek said. That's a promise. Mommy says you don't love me because you're always gone. She says I remind you of your mistakes. Derek reached across the table and took Travis's small hand. Your mother is wrong. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. Not a mistake. Never a mistake. And I'm going to fix this. All of it. They drove back to the house as the sun lowered in the sky. Derek parked in the driveway and told Travis to stay in the truck with the doors locked. I need to talk to Mommy and Grandpa. You sit tight, okay? If anything happens, you hit this button. He showed Travis the panic button on his keychain that would sound the truck's alarm. Travis nodded, his eyes wide and fearful. Derek walked to the front door. The rage had settled into something cold and focused now. He'd seen men in combat lose themselves to anger, make fatal mistakes. He wouldn't do that. This required precision. He pushed open the front door. The house smelled stale, like unwashed dishes and neglect. The living room was a mess. Empty beer bottles, pizza boxes, dirty laundry piled on the furniture. The TV blared some reality show. Julia sat on the couch next to her father Gordon. She'd gained weight since Derek's last visit home 6 months ago, maybe 30 pounds. Gordon looked the same, late 50s, thick gray hair, wearing an expensive polo shirt and khakis. They were laughing at something on the screen, sharing a pizza. Derek stood in the doorway and watched them. Neither had heard him come in. Julia threw her head back, laughing, and Gordon patted her knee affectionately. A happy family moment. While Travis ate from the garbage. "Hello, Julia," Derek said quietly. She jumped, nearly spilling her beer. Gordon turned, his expression shifting from surprise to something else, calculation. "Derek," Julia stood, smoothing her hair. "Oh my God, you're home. Why didn't you call? We would have." "Where's Travis?" Derek asked. He's in his room, I think. Probably napping." She moved toward him, arms outstretched for a hug. Derek didn't move. "He's in my truck. I found him in the backyard, eating from the garbage." The color drained from Julia's face. Gordon's eyes narrowed. "That's ridiculous," Julia said quickly. "He must have been playing. You know how kids are. They pretend. He's starving." Derek's voice was flat, controlled. "He weighs about 40 pounds. His ribs are showing. He has cuts on his feet from walking around barefoot. And he told me that you said food is for blood-related only." Julia glanced at her father. Gordon stood slowly, his considerable height trying to intimidate. "Now look here, Derek. You've been gone for months. You don't know what it's been like raising that boy. He's difficult. He doesn't listen. Sometimes discipline requires tough measures." "Tough measures." Derek repeated the word slowly. "Is that what you call child abuse? Don't you dare come into my daughter's house and accuse." "My house," Derek interrupted. "My name on the deed. My money that paid for it. And my son upstairs who you've been torturing." Julia's face hardened. The mask slipped. "He's not your son." The words hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Derek's expression didn't change. "Explain." "Oh, for God's sake, Derek. Did you really think?" Julia laughed, but it was ugly now. "Travis isn't yours. He never was. I was pregnant when we met. The father was some nobody who took off. You were so eager to play hero, the big, strong soldier, that you never even questioned it." Gordon nodded, crossing his arms. "We've been carrying your mistake for 7 years. The boy's not your blood. Why should we waste food and resources on?" "Get out," Derek said. "What? Get out of my house. Both of you. Now." Julia's eyes flashed. "This is my home. You can't just." "I can. And I am." Derek pulled his phone from his pocket. "I have video of Travis describing the abuse. I have photographs. I have documentation. I'm going to the police, and then I'm going to a lawyer. But first, I'm getting my son somewhere safe. You have 30 seconds to leave, or I'm calling the cops right now and having you arrested for child abuse." Gordon stepped forward, his face reddening. "You think you can threaten me? I have connections in this town. I know people, judges, lawyers. You're just some grunt who follows orders. You won't." Derek moved. One step forward, close enough that Gordon had to look up to meet his eyes. "I've done 3 tours in Afghanistan. I've seen things that would make you piss yourself. I've made men twice your size cry for their mothers. Don't test me, Gordon. Not today. Not ever." The older man backed up, something primal in his hindbrain recognizing a genuine predator. "We'll see about this," Julia hissed. "I'll get a lawyer. I'll take you for everything. That boy isn't even yours." "Then you won't mind giving up custody," Derek said. "Leave. Now." They left, Julia still spitting threats over her shoulder, Gordon silent and calculating. Derek watched through the window as they climbed into Gordon's Mercedes and peeled out of the driveway. He stood there for a long moment, breathing slowly, forcing the adrenaline down. Then he went back to the truck. Travis looked up at him with those huge, frightened eyes. Are they mad at me? They're gone, Derek said. Come on, buddy. Let's get you cleaned up and into bed. Real bed. Clean sheets. Safe. That night, Derek sat in the dark living room after Travis had finally fallen asleep. The boy had showered. The water had run brown at first, and Derek had found old clothes in the back of the closet that still fit him. He'd made Travis a simple dinner of chicken and rice, small portions to avoid making him sick. Now Derek pulled out his laptop and began to work. Army intelligence had taught him how to dig, how to find patterns, how to follow the money. He started with Julia's bank statements, accessed through their joint account. Large withdrawals, frequent deposits to Gordon's account. His military pay was being direct deposited, but significant amounts had been transferred out. He dug deeper. Gordon Henderson owned Henderson Real Estate Development, a mid-sized firm that had been struggling since 2020. Tax records showed mounting debt, legal judgments, collection notices. And then Derek found it. A life insurance policy on Travis, taken out 2 months after Derek's last deployment began. $500,000. Beneficiaries, Julia Henderson Hansen and Gordon Henderson. Derek stared at the screen. The pieces were clicking together. The starvation. The neglect. They were waiting for Travis to die. Malnutrition, a weakened immune system, an infection. It would look natural, tragic. A sick child whose father was deployed, whose mother did her best but couldn't save him. And they'd collect $500,000. His hands were shaking now. Not with rage, that had burned out hours ago. This was something colder. This was the feeling he'd had in the mountains outside Kabul when he'd tracked insurgents for 3 days straight, watching, learning, planning the perfect strike. Derek pulled out a burner phone he kept for operational security. He had friends, Army buddies who'd gone into different lines of work. Leon Kramer, now a private investigator in Atlanta. Damon Snyder, who worked for a cybersecurity firm. Kyle Glover, who'd left the service to become a lawyer specializing in family law. He started making calls. By dawn, Derek had a plan. Julia and Gordon had 48 hours before they'd realized they'd made a fatal mistake. They thought they were dealing with a soldier who just followed orders. They were wrong. Derek Hansen had spent 12 years learning how to fight wars. Now he was going to teach them what happened when you hurt his son. The sun was barely up when Derek called Kyle Glover. They'd served together in the 82nd Airborne before Kyle took an IED injury that ended his combat days. He'd used his GI Bill for law school and now practiced in Atlanta, specializing in military family law. Derek. Kyle's voice was rough with sleep. Man, it's 5:30 in the morning. I need help, Derek said simply. It's Travis. 10 minutes later, Kyle was wide awake and furious. Jesus Christ. Okay, listen to me carefully. You did everything right so far. Documentation is good. But you need to file an emergency custody motion today. Right now, legally, Julia still has parental rights. She's not his biological mother, Derek said. Doesn't matter. She's married to you. Her name's on the birth certificate. Until a judge says otherwise, she has rights. But with your evidence, we can get an emergency order this morning. I know a judge in Fulton County who handles domestic cases. She's good people. Military friendly. There's more, Derek said. He explained about the life insurance policy, the financial transfers, Gordon's debts. Kyle was quiet for a long moment. Derek, what you're describing sounds like they were planning to kill that boy. I know. You need to go to the police. Today. This is attempted murder. After I secure custody. If they think I'm coming after them criminally, Julia might run with Travis, claim I'm the abusive one. I need legal custody first, then I bring the hammer down. Kyle sighed. You're thinking tactically. It's what I do. Okay, I'll draft the emergency motion. Meet me at the Fulton County Courthouse at 9 a.m. Bring Travis and all your documentation. And Derek? Don't do anything stupid. I know that look you used to get. Let the law handle this. Derek hung up without promising anything. His next call was to Leon Kramer. Leon had left the Army after 8 years to become a private investigator, specializing in surveillance and background checks. He answered on the first ring. Hansen, long time. I need a full workup on 2 people. Deep dive, financial records, criminal history, business dealings, everything. And I need it by tomorrow. Who are we talking about? Derek gave him Gordon and Julia's information. The daughter's my wife. I'm divorcing her. The father's a real estate developer who's been stealing from me and abusing my son. I need to know everything about them. Every skeleton. Every weakness. You going to war, brother? Already at war, Derek said. I'm just planning the end game. I'll have something by tonight. And Derek? Whatever you're planning, be careful. Guys like this have connections. So do I. Travis woke up at 7, confused about where he was. Derek made him breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast with butter, sliced strawberries. The boy ate slowly, still afraid it would be taken away. Travis, Derek said gently, I need you to be brave today. We're going to see a judge. You're going to tell her the truth about what happened while I was gone. Can you do that? Travis nodded, his small face serious. Will I have to go back to mommy? Not if I can help it. Good. I don't like her anymore. She's mean. And Grandpa Gordon, he scares me. Did he ever hurt you? Hit you? Travis was quiet for a moment. He locked me in the basement sometimes. When I cried too much. It was dark and cold. There were spiders. Derek kept his expression neutral, but inside he was making a mental list. Every crime. Every cruelty. They'd all pay for it. At the courthouse, Kyle was waiting with a woman Derek didn't recognize. She was in her 50s, wearing a sharp business suit, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Derek, this is Constance Davidson. She's a child psychologist who works with abuse cases. She's going to talk to Travis before the hearing, assess his condition, and provide testimony. Derek shook her hand. Thank you for coming on short notice. Kyle explained the situation. Constance said, I've seen a lot of terrible things in my career, Mr. Hansen. But deliberate starvation of a child is particularly heinous. Let me spend some time with Travis. She led the boy to a private room. Derek and Kyle waited in the hallway, drinking terrible courthouse coffee. What's your plan after this? Kyle asked quietly. Depends on what Leon finds. But Julia and Gordon are going to lose everything. Their freedom, their money, their reputation. Everything. And if the law doesn't do enough? Derek met his eyes. Then I get creative. Kyle nodded slowly. I didn't hear that. The emergency hearing was at 10 a.m. Judge Abby Bell presided, a stern woman in her 40s with a reputation for not tolerating nonsense. She reviewed Derek's evidence, listened to Constance Davidson's testimony, and interviewed Travis in chambers. When she returned, her face was granite. I'm granting full emergency custody to Mr. Derek Hansen, effective immediately. Mrs. Julia Hansen's parental rights are suspended pending a full investigation. I'm also issuing a restraining order. Neither Julia Hansen nor Gordon Henderson are to come within 500 feet of the child. Furthermore, I'm referring this case to the district attorney's office for criminal investigation. She looked directly at Derek. Mr. Hansen, your son is severely malnourished and shows signs of prolonged abuse and neglect. I'm ordering that he receive immediate medical attention. The court will assign a social worker to monitor his recovery. Do you have a safe place for him? Yes, Your Honor. I'm staying at the Residence Inn for now. I'll be finding permanent housing this week. See that you do? This hearing is adjourned. Outside the courthouse, Derek felt the first weight lift off his chest since yesterday. Travis was legally his. No one could take him away now. His phone buzzed. A text from Leon. Got preliminary info. You need to see this. Sending encrypted file. Derek downloaded it on his phone, using the secure app they'd used overseas. What he read made everything make sense in the worst possible way. Gordon Henderson's company was 3 months from bankruptcy. He had gambling debts totaling $200,000. His wife, Travis's biological grandmother, had died 4 years ago, leaving him with medical debt he'd never paid off. He'd been systematically draining Derek's accounts, but it wasn't enough. Then there was the life insurance policy on Travis. But Leon had found another one Derek hadn't known about. A policy on Derek himself, taken out by Julia with forged signatures. $2 million. Beneficiary, Julia Henderson Hansen. And there was a note in the file. Gordon Henderson had been searching online for slow-acting poisons, untraceable toxins, and accidental death insurance payouts. They weren't just neglecting Travis. They'd been planning to kill him first, make it look natural, collect the $500,000. Then kill Derek during his next deployment, friendly fire, training accident, something plausibly deniable, and collect $2 million more. With Derek dead and Travis gone, Julia would inherit the house and everything else. Derek sat in his truck, staring at the screen. He'd been their retirement plan. He and Travis both. Travis was buckled in the passenger seat, quiet. Derek looked at his son, regardless of blood, and something hardened inside him. "Hey buddy," he said softly. "How would you like to go visit Uncle Leon? He has a really cool office in Atlanta. Lots of computers and spy stuff." Travis's eyes lit up for the first time. "Really? Really? We'll go tomorrow. But first, let's get you to a doctor. Make sure you're okay." That afternoon, at the pediatrician's office, Dr. Alan Lehman examined Travis with a deepening frown. "Mr. Hansen, your son is severely malnourished. Dangerously so. We're talking about potential organ damage, developmental delays, weakened immune system. He needs to be hospitalized." "How long?" "At least a week, maybe more. We need to restore his nutrition slowly, run comprehensive tests. I'm honestly shocked he's still walking around. Another month of this and—" The doctor didn't finish the sentence. Derek nodded. "Do whatever you need to do. Money's not an issue." He stayed with Travis at Children's Hospital that night, sleeping in the chair beside his bed. Travis was hooked up 2 and 4, receiving nutrients and fluids. He looked so small in that hospital bed, surrounded by machines. "Daddy," Travis whispered in the dark. "Am I going to die?" "No," Derek said firmly. "You're going to live. You're going to grow up strong and healthy. And I promise you, the people who did this to you will never hurt anyone again." The next morning, while Travis was sleeping, Derek met with Leon Kramer at a coffee shop near the hospital. Leon slid a thick folder across the table. "It's all there. Financial records, phone logs, internet search history, email correspondence. Gordon's in debt to some seriously bad people. Underground poker games, illegal sports betting. He owes money to a loan shark named Roy Willis who operates out of Charleston. Nasty piece of work. And Julia? She's been planning this for at least a year. Found emails between her and Gordon discussing the plan. They never explicitly say murder, but the implications are clear. They knew you were deployed, knew you couldn't check on Travis. They were starving him slowly, documenting his illness, building a narrative of a sick child they tried to save." Derek's jaw clenched. "What about the forged insurance policy? That's your smoking gun. Julia forged your signature on the application. That's fraud and potentially attempted murder if you can prove intent. The DA could prosecute, but it's circumstantial. A good lawyer might get them reduced charges." "I don't want reduced charges." Leon met his eyes. "What do you want?" "I want them destroyed. Completely. I want Gordon to lose his business, his freedom, everything. I want Julia to face what she tried to do. And I want them to know it was me who did it." "That's a tall order, brother. You know what I'm capable of. You've seen me work." Leon was quiet for a moment. "Yeah, I have. And that's what worries me. Look, I get it. If someone did this to my kid, I'd want blood too. But you need to be smart. You start breaking laws, you could lose Travis permanently." "Then I won't break laws," Derek said. "I'll just bend them. Creatively." He spent that afternoon making calls. First to Damon Snyder, his old army buddy who now worked in cybersecurity. "Damon, I need you to dig into someone's digital life. Everything. Bank accounts, emails, social media, cloud storage. Can you do that?" "Legally. Gray area." Damon laughed. "Brother, you know I love gray areas. Send me the details." Next, Derek called Roy Willis directly. Leon had provided the number. A gravelly voice answered. "Yeah. Mr. Willis, my name is Derek Hansen. I understand Gordon Henderson owes you money." Silence. Then, "Who says that?" "I have reliable sources. I also have a proposition. Gordon owes you about $200,000. I can help you collect that, plus interest if you do something for me." "I'm listening." "I need you to pressure him. Publicly. Make him sweat. Calls to his office, visits to his home, anything legal that makes him feel cornered. I want him desperate." "Why?" "Because desperate men make mistakes. And I need him to make a very specific mistake." "What's in it for me?" "I'll give you information on how to seize his assets legally. Liens, judgments, the works. You'll get paid, and it won't trace back to you." Another pause. "Send me what you got. If it's good, we'll talk." Derek hung up and smiled grimly. Piece by piece, he was building a trap, and Gordon Henderson was going to walk right into it. The hospital released Travis after 6 days. Dr. Lehman prescribed a careful diet and regular checkups, but Travis was already looking better. His cheeks had color, his eyes were brighter. Derek had been bringing him books and games, spending every minute he could in that hospital room. "You're a good father," one of the nurses told Derek on discharge day. "That boy loves you." "He's my whole world," Derek said simply. He'd rented a small house in a quiet suburb, fully furnished, with a fenced backyard. Travis's room had a bed with dinosaur sheets, shelves for books, and a window overlooking a big oak tree. It was everything the boy had never had. That first night in the new house, Travis sat at the kitchen table while Derek made spaghetti. Real food, proper portions. Travis watched him like he was witnessing magic. "Daddy? Why did Mommy hate me?" Derek turned from the stove. "She doesn't hate you, Travis. She's sick in her head. Some people are broken inside in ways that make them hurt others. It's not your fault. It was never your fault. But she said I wasn't your real son." Derek knelt down beside Travis's chair. "Listen to me. Blood doesn't make a family. Love does. Choice does. I choose you. Every single day. You are my son in every way that matters." "Got it." Travis threw his arms around Derek's neck. "I love you, Daddy. I love you too, buddy. More than anything." While Travis slept that night, Derek executed the next phase of his plan. He'd spent the past week gathering information, building connections, identifying pressure points. Now it was time to apply force. He started with Gordon's business. Using Damon's research, Derek had found several building code violations at Henderson Real Estate's properties. Some were minor, but others were serious. Faulty electrical work, inadequate fire suppression, structural issues. Derek compiled a comprehensive report and sent it anonymously to the city inspector's office and the local news station. Within 48 hours, WXIA News was running a story. Local real estate developer faces multiple code violations. Gordon's face was plastered across the screen, looking flustered as reporters shouted questions. His properties were hit with stop work orders. Projects ground to a halt. Derek watched the news with grim satisfaction. That was just the opening move. Next, he contacted an old friend from military intelligence, Joel Merrill, now working for the IRS Criminal Investigations Division. Derek sent him the financial records Leon had compiled showing Gordon's tax evasion, unreported gambling income, and fraudulent deductions. "This is solid," Joel said on a secure call. "We can open an investigation. It'll take time, but if this is all accurate, Henderson's looking at serious charges." "How long?" 6 months minimum. "But we can freeze his assets pretty quickly if we suspect ongoing fraud." "Do it." The third piece involved Julia. Derek had Damon create a complete digital dossier. Every text message, every email, every social media post. The evidence of her neglect of Travis, her communication with Gordon about the plan, her research into insurance fraud. Derek packaged it professionally and sent it to the district attorney's office with a detailed cover letter. He also sent copies to Julia's employer. She worked as a receptionist for a dental office, and to her social circle. Not the criminal stuff, just enough to show what kind of person she was. Screenshots of her complaining about Travis, calling him a burden, describing him as the mistake that won't go away. Within a week, Julia was fired. Her friends stopped calling. Her Facebook went silent after dozens of people confronted her. But Derek wasn't done. Roy Willis had made his move, showing up at Gordon's office with 2 large associates. They had a conversation in the parking lot that several people witnessed. Gordon filed a police report, but Willis had done nothing technically illegal, just had a loud discussion about outstanding debts. The pressure was building. Gordon's business was collapsing, his assets were being frozen, and he had a loan shark breathing down his neck. Julia was isolated and unemployed. They were exactly where Derek wanted them. On day 12 after Derek's return home, his phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello. Derek, it's Gordon." The older man's voice was strained. "We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Please, just hear me out. Julia and we made mistakes. We see that now. But you're destroying our lives. The news reports, the IRS investigation, the loan shark harassing me. This has your fingerprints all over it. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play games. You're a soldier, not a criminal. Whatever you think we did. You starved my son," Derek said coldly. "You took out a life insurance policy on him and waited for him to die. You forged my signature to take out a policy on me. You planned to kill us both and collect the money." Silence. "I have evidence, Gordon. Emails, search histories, financial records. The DA has it all now. You're going to prison. Both of you. The only question is for how long." "I can make this right," Gordon said desperately. "I have some money still. I can pay you. We can settle this quietly." "There's no settlement. You tried to murder a child. My child. There's no coming back from that." "Derek, please." Derek hung up. That night, he got another call. This time from Julia. You bastard, she hissed. You've ruined everything. My job, my friends, my life. All over some stupid brat who isn't even yours. His name is Travis. I don't care what his name is. You have no right to do this. I'm his mother. You're nothing to him. You're the monster who starved him. And you're going to pay for that. We'll see about that. My father has connections. Hill, your father is going to prison. So are you. The DA has enough evidence to charge you both with attempted murder, child abuse, insurance fraud, and about 6 other felonies. Your trial starts in 4 months. I'd suggest you get a good lawyer, but you can't afford one anymore, can you? Julia was breathing hard. I could make things difficult for you. I could claim you abused Travis. That you're an unfit father. Go ahead, Derek said calmly. I have medical records proving his condition when I found him. I have video evidence. I have testimony from doctors, social workers, and a judge who already stripped your parental rights. Try it. Please. I'd love to add perjury to your charges. She hung up screaming. Derek set his phone down and poured himself a bourbon. He didn't drink often, but tonight seemed appropriate. The trap was set, the prey was caught, and now came the final phase, making sure they couldn't escape. Leon called the next morning. Brother, I don't know what you're doing, but Gordon Henderson just tried to skip town. TSA flagged him at the airport. He's trying to flee to Mexico. Did they arrest him? Not yet, but the DA's office got word. They're moving up the indictment. Good. 2 days later, Gordon Henderson and Julia Hanson were formally indicted on multiple charges: attempted murder, child endangerment, insurance fraud, tax evasion, and conspiracy to commit murder. The bail was set at $2 million each. They couldn't make it. Derek watched the news coverage from his living room while Travis played with toy trucks on the floor. The boy was gaining weight, smiling more, starting to act like a normal 7-year-old. He had nightmares sometimes, and he still hoarded food in his room, but Dr. Constance Davidson was helping him work through the trauma. Daddy, Travis looked up. That's Mommy on TV. Yeah, buddy. She looks sad. She should be. She did bad things. Travis was quiet for a moment. I'm glad I'm with you instead. Derek smiled. Me too, kid. Me too. But he wasn't finished. The legal system would handle Gordon and Julia, but Derek wanted to make sure they understood the full cost of their actions. He wanted them to know what it felt like to lose everything. He made one final call to Roy Willis. The assets are about to be liquidated by the court, but there's a window where you could file liens against Henderson's properties. I'm sending you the information. You're a cold son of a bitch, Hanson. I'm a father protecting his son. Do we have a deal? We have a deal. The pieces fell into place over the next month. Roy Willis filed legal claims against Gordon's properties for the gambling debts. The IRS seized bank accounts. The city condemned several of his buildings. Henderson Real Estate Development went bankrupt, and Gordon lost everything. His business, his house, his car, his reputation. Julia fared no better. Without her father's money, she couldn't afford a decent lawyer. She was assigned a public defender who advised her to take a plea deal. 15 years in prison in exchange for testifying against Gordon. She refused, convinced she could beat the charges. She was wrong. The trial was swift and brutal. Derek attended every day, sitting in the gallery with Travis's doctor, the social worker, and Kyle Glover. The prosecutor laid out the case methodically. The life insurance policies, the emails, the search histories, the medical evidence of Travis's starvation. Constance Davidson testified about Travis's psychological trauma. Dr. Lehman testified about his physical condition. Derek took the stand and described finding Travis eating from the garbage, his voice steady and factual. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Gordon Henderson was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. Julia received 20 years. Neither would be eligible for parole for at least 15 years. Derek watched them being led away in shackles, their faces pale and shocked. Gordon was crying. Julia stared straight ahead, her expression empty. He felt nothing. No satisfaction, no closure. Just a grim acknowledgement that justice had been served. Outside the courthouse, Kyle clapped him on the shoulder. You did it, brother. That boy is safe now. We did it, Derek corrected. I couldn't have done this without you. What's next for you? I'm putting in my discharge papers. 12 years was enough. Travis needs stability, and I need to be here for him. I'm thinking about starting a business, maybe security consulting or something. Kyle grinned. Using all those covert ops skills for good? Something like that. That night, Derek made Travis's favorite dinner, mac and cheese with chicken nuggets. They ate together at the kitchen table, Travis chattering about school and his new friends. He was enrolled in second grade now, getting therapy twice a week, and thriving. After dinner, they sat on the couch and watched a movie. Travis fell asleep halfway through, his head on Derek's shoulder. Derek looked down at his son, because Travis was his son, in every way that mattered, and felt something shift in his chest. For 12 years, he'd been a soldier. He'd fought in wars, executed missions, followed orders. But this was the most important battle he'd ever fought, and he'd won it not with weapons, but with strategy, patience, and relentless determination. He'd protected his son. He'd brought down the monsters. And he'd done it within the bounds of the law, mostly. Derek carried Travis to bed, tucked him in, and kissed his forehead. "Good night, buddy. Sweet dreams." "Night, Daddy," Travis murmured, already half asleep. Derek stood in the doorway for a moment, watching Travis sleep peacefully, safely, in a home where he was loved and protected. Then he quietly closed the door and went to his own room. Tomorrow he'd start his civilian life. But tonight, he was just a father who'd saved his son. And that was enough. 6 months after the trial, Derek was sitting in his home office reviewing contracts for his new security consulting business when his phone rang. Unknown number again. He answered warily. "Mr. Hansen? This is Warden Chapman from Federal Correctional Institution Coleman. I wanted to inform you that there was an incident involving Gordon Henderson." Derek's hand tightened on the phone. What kind of incident? He was assaulted by another inmate. Apparently word got around about his crimes. Child abuse, attempted murder of a child. That doesn't sit well in prison populations. He's in the medical ward now. He'll survive, but, well, let's just say his time here won't be easy. "I see," Derek said neutrally. "I thought you'd want to know. Also, Julia Hansen has been requesting to see you. She wants to apologize, she says. Make amends. Tell her no." "Understood. Have a good day, Mr. Hansen." Derek hung up and stared out the window. Gordon was suffering. Julia was suffering. They'd lost everything and would spend the next 15 years, minimum, in a cage. He should feel something. Satisfaction, maybe. Justice served. But all he felt was tired. Travis's voice came from downstairs. "Daddy, can we go to the park?" Derek smiled and stood up. "Yeah, buddy. Let me get my keys." The park was crowded on Saturday afternoon. Kids were running around, parents chatting, dogs chasing frisbees. Travis made a beeline for the swings, and Derek pushed him, listening to his son's delighted shrieks. A woman approached, maybe 35, with kind eyes. "Your son seems happy." "He is," Derek said. "Took some work to get here, but he is. Single dad." "Yeah, it's just us." She smiled. "That's admirable. I'm Meredith Rivers, by the way. My daughter's over there on the monkey bars." Derek Hansen. They chatted while the kids played. Meredith was a teacher, divorced, raising her daughter on her own. She was easy to talk to, had a warm laugh. When Travis and her daughter, Samantha, decided they wanted ice cream, the four of them walked to the nearby shop together. "I'd like to do this again sometime," Meredith said as they were leaving. "If you're interested. Maybe coffee? Just adults this time." Derek hesitated. He hadn't thought about dating, hadn't considered that his life could include anything beyond Travis and work. But Meredith was smiling at him hopefully, and Travis was tugging on his hand saying, "Hey, she's nice, Daddy." And maybe it was time to think about building something instead of destroying it. "Yeah," Derek said. "I'd like that." He got her number, promised to text, and drove home with Travis singing along to the radio. Life was moving forward. The past was being filed away, boxed up, dealt with. That night, Derek got one more call. This time from Leon. "Hey brother, just wanted to give you an update. Roy Willis got his money from Henderson's assets. He's satisfied. Closed the book on that debt. Good. Also, I heard through the grapevine that the insurance companies are investigating Julia's fraud. They're going after her for everything. She'll be paying restitution for the rest of her life, even after prison. She earned it. You did a hell of a job, Derek. Completely dismantled them. But I gotta ask, was it worth it?" Derek looked through the doorway to where Travis was reading a book on the couch, his legs swinging, a snack beside him. "Healthy. Safe. Happy." "Yeah," Derek said quietly. "It was worth it. You're a good man, Hansen. Don't lose yourself in the darkness." "I won't. I've got too much to live for now." After hanging up, Derek joined Travis on the couch. They read together until Travis's bedtime, then went through their nightly routine, brush teeth, put on pajamas, read one more chapter of their current book, Harry Potter, and then lights out. "Daddy," Travis said in the dark, "are the bad people gone forever?" "Yeah, buddy. They're gone. They can't hurt you anymore. Promise. I promise. You're safe now. We both are." Travis was quiet for a moment. "I'm glad you're my dad." Derek's throat tightened. "I'm glad you're my son." He sat there until Travis's breathing evened out into sleep, then quietly left the room. In his own bedroom, Derek opened his laptop and looked at the email from the Army. His discharge papers had been approved. Effective in 30 days, he'd be a civilian. 12 years of service. 3 tours. Countless missions. But saving Travis had been his most important operation, and he'd executed it perfectly. Derek closed the laptop and got ready for bed. Tomorrow he had a meeting with a potential client for his business. Next week, Travis had a birthday party to attend. And next month, maybe his second date with Meredith if the first one went well. Life was happening. Real life, civilian life, peaceful life. And for the first time in years, Derek Hansen was looking forward to it. As he turned off the light, he thought about Gordon and Julia in their prison cells, facing decades of consequences for their cruelty. He thought about the careful, methodical way he'd dismantled their lives, using the law, using pressure, using intelligence. They'd tried to destroy an innocent child for money. He destroyed them for justice. And he'd sleep just fine. Epilogue, 2 years later. Travis was 9 now, thriving in 4th grade, playing Little League baseball, and obsessed with dinosaurs. The nightmares had faded to occasional bad dreams. He still saw Dr. Davidson once a month, but mostly as a check-in. The scars were healing. Derek's security consulting business was doing well. He specialized in personal protection and threat assessment, using his military experience to keep families safe. There was something satisfying about the work, being a protector rather than a warrior. He and Meredith Rivers had been dating for 18 months. She understood his past, his baggage, his fierce protectiveness of Travis. Her daughter Samantha and Travis had become best friends. They were taking things slow, but Derek could see a future there. Maybe. One Saturday morning, Derek was making pancakes when Travis came downstairs with a school project folder. "Dad, I have to write about my hero for class. I picked you." Derek flipped a pancake. "Yeah? Why's that?" "Because you saved me. You're like a superhero, but real." "I'm not a superhero, buddy. I'm just your dad." "That's what makes you a hero," Travis said seriously. "Superheroes have powers. You just had love. And you still won." Derek knelt down and pulled Travis into a hug. "You know what? You're the real hero. You survived when things were terrible. You stayed strong. You trusted me when you had every reason not to trust anyone. That takes more courage than anything I did." "We're both heroes," Travis decided. "A team." "Yeah, a team." Later that week, Derek received a letter. Prison letterhead. He almost threw it away, but curiosity made him open it. "Dear Derek, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I have no right to reach out. But I need to say this, even if you never respond. I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. What I did to Travis was unforgivable. I was sick with greed, with desperation, with my father's influence. None of that excuses it. Nothing excuses it. Prison has given me a lot of time to think. About what I became. About the child I hurt. About the man I destroyed by betraying him. Travis wasn't yours by blood, but he was always yours in every way that mattered. I see that now. You chose him. You fought for him. You loved him. I never did any of those things. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that I'm glad Travis has you. That he's safe. That he's loved. That's the only good thing to come out of this nightmare. I have 15 more years to think about what I did. 15 years to live with the knowledge that I tried to kill an innocent child for money. That weight will never lift. Please tell Travis. Tell him I'm sorry. Tell him he deserved better. Tell him none of it was his fault. I hope you find happiness, Derek. You earned it. Julia." Derek read the letter twice, then filed it away in a folder. Maybe someday he'd show it to Travis when he was older, when he could process it. Or maybe he'd just keep it as a reminder that even monsters could have moments of clarity. But it didn't change anything. The past was done. The present was what mattered. That evening, Derek took Travis and Meredith and Samantha out for pizza. They laughed and told jokes and made plans for summer vacation. Normal family stuff. Beautiful, mundane, ordinary life. As they drove home, Travis asleep in the back seat, Meredith reached over and squeezed Derek's hand. "You're a good man, Derek Hansen." "I try to be." "You don't have to try. You just are." Derek smiled and kept driving, toward home, toward a future that was bright and safe and filled with love. He'd spent 12 years as a soldier, fighting wars in distant lands. But the most important battle had been right here, saving his son from monsters who wore familiar faces. And he'd won, not with bullets or bombs, but with intelligence, strategy, and unwavering determination to protect the one person who mattered most. Travis was safe. The monsters were caged. Justice was served. Mission accomplished. Derek Hansen was finally home. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.